Well, hello, friend, and welcome to day 7 of our journey through the Proverbs. So glad you could join us. Today, as we look at chapter 7 of Proverbs, we're going to see that this chapter is similar to chapters 5 and 6 in that it uses the metaphor of a prostitute again. And I think in this chapter, it really paints a great picture of being led astray. So let's go ahead and dive into our text for today, Proverbs chapter 7. In verse 1, it says, "My child, keep my words. Lay up my commandments within you. Keep my commandments and live. Guard my teaching as the apple of your eye. Bind them on your fingers. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Tell wisdom, you are my sister. Call understanding your relative, that they may keep you from the strange woman, from the foreigner who flatters with her words. For at the window of my house I looked out through my lattice. I saw among the simple ones. I discerned among the youths a young man void of understanding. Passing through the street near her corner, he went the way to her house. In the twilight, in the evening of the day, in the middle of the night, and in the darkness, behold, there a woman met with him, the attire of a prostitute and with crafty intent. She is loud and defiant. Her feet don't stay in her house. Now she is in the streets, now in the squares, and lurking at every corner. So she caught him and kissed him. With a brazen face she said to him, Sacrifices of peace offerings are with me. Today I have paid my vows. Therefore I came out to meet you, to diligently seek your face, and I have found you. I have spread my couch with carpets of tapestry, with striped cloths of the yarn of Egypt. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let's take our fill of loving until the morning. Let's solace ourselves with loving. For my husband isn't at home. He is gone on a long journey. He has taken a bag of money with him. He will come home at the full moon. With persuasive words, she led him astray. With the flattering of her lips, she seduced him. He followed her immediately, as an ox goes to the slaughter, as a fool stepping into a noose, until an arrow strikes through his liver, as a bird hurries to the snare and doesn't know that it will cost his life. Now therefore, my children, listen to me. Pay attention to the words of my mouth. Don't let your heart turn to her ways. Don't go astray in her paths, for she has thrown down many wounded. Yes, all her slain are a mighty army. Her house is the way to the grave, going down to the rooms of death. Wow, that is pretty final. The rooms of death. And I think it's really interesting that this young man in this story, contrary to the affirmation that we had, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, like, I will not go down that path. I will not follow things that are harmful. It said he didn't just go there once. He went there again and again and again. Not very smart. But what I want to focus on is verse 19, where it says, For my husband isn't at home. He's gone on a long journey. And if we use this as a metaphor for, again, as for God as the husband, really kind of comes to light. This verse is kind of like saying, when the cat's away, the mice will play. And there's a lot of verses and verses in the New Testament that talk about this idea. For example, in Philippians chapter 2 and verse 12, this is Paul writing to the church in Philippi, and he says, Therefore, my dear friends, as you have always obeyed, not only in my presence, but now much more in my absence, continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. Again, Jesus In several places, he's quoted as saying, using parables and sayings where he talks about a king or a master going on a long journey, being away, and then returning and settling accounts with those that he put his affairs, that he trusted with his affairs while he was gone. One of those examples is Matthew chapter 24, verses 36 to 51. I'm not going to read it, but that talks about the day and the hour of his returning being unknown. And if you want a really intense chapter about this whole idea, read 2 Peter chapter 3, titled The Day of the Lord. So I think this is why in Proverbs chapter 1 it talks about the fear of the Lord being the beginning of understanding. And I don't think it means to be terrified of God. God is not somebody to be afraid of or to cower before. But I think that in talking with a rabbi and talking, what does the fear of the Lord mean? He simply said, fear of the Lord is just to be aware of his presence. Just to know that he is present, even if you can't see him, the Lord is present. What I think about this chapter is, I think it's summed up well in this saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We've been warned, and we see what happens when people get fooled or deceived by things that are very tempting. And so my affirmation from this chapter today is, it's not meant to be silly, but it's meant to kind of get your attention. And it's sort of reminiscent of a song by The Who called We Won't Get Fooled Again. And so my affirmation is, not coming up here. There it is. I won't be fooled again. That's my affirmation. I won't be fooled again. I think it's kind of interesting, helpful to remember, helps you remember, hey, I'm not going to go down this path again. I was fooled before, not going to get fooled again. Now what I want to do is share a takeaway that one of the viewers shared with me. This is from Pam from Springfield, Illinois. Her takeaway is, read as a metaphor rather than the literal wording of adultery, I can relate to finding a love affair with the world an enticing temptation over my relationship with Christ. Only with my heart and eyes on him will I find the strength to choose wisely. And Pam has an affirmation as well, and her affirmation is, I will keep Jesus as the apple of my eye. I absolutely love that affirmation. I will keep Jesus as the apple of my eye. Well, thank you, Pam, for sharing your takeaway. And I would love to hear your takeaway. What did you get out of Proverbs chapter 7? If you want to take a little time and think about it, that's great. But I'd love to hear your comments. Please think about or consider leaving a comment below the video and share with us so that we can be inspired and blessed by how the Lord has moved on your heart, or how the Spirit has moved on your heart. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. There's more info in the description area about how to connect with us and about today's lesson. But for now, just want to thank you so much for joining me on the journey here, and so long for now. Have a great day.